Can't decide and torn between a romantic, comedy, action, or an indie film to watch for the weekend? Well, Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast is your ultimate guide to the latest movies. Join Jordan, Keith, and Mariano as the trio dissects what's latest on the blockbusters. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast.
Growing tired of the bar scene. Who isn't? It's the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast with Jordan,
Mariano,
Keith,
and Keith. That's everybody.
Yes, Captain Keith.
It's so glad to have you back. It's been so long. I don't know if you realized this, but I did episodes without you.
Yes, you did, man.
I did.
You
Yeah,
did four of them, dude.
But
you're on a roll. You're a monster.
You had a wedding to go to. How was it?
The wedding was great. I had a great time.
I'm glad you had a great time. You seem rebooted. You seem refreshed.
Oh yes, young people in love. It's a beautiful thing, dude.
Oh man, yeah.
Yes, love in the afternoon.
Did you go to any weddings, Mariano?
No.
Me neither.
Young people aren't in love where I'm.
We'll have to change that. Yes, I had 2 weddings this year with my wedding tour.
Oh,
I think it's over for the year now, but yeah.
2?
I had 2. I had one in April, and I had one yesterday.
I feel like mine are all going to hit me at once, right as my friends all get to like 28.
Always the bridesmaid, right, guys?
I suppose, although
I look great.
Man.
I look great in the dress, so whatever.
I think you probably would, dude.
I've said this since I first met you. Keith will attest. I have always thought you would look great in a dress, and I'm still standing by that now.
All righty then.
I'm more confident now. So I'm sorry, I forgot. We have a movie podcast that
yes,
we're doing.
We do.
This is our biggest episode yet so far. Maybe too soon to say, but what we can say is that today we're going to be reviewing Star Trek Beyond.
Yes.
And also Lights Out.
Yes.
So what do you guys want to get started on?
So we can save Star Trek for last?
I was thinking doing Lights Out first.
That's good because I was really excited to talk about Lights Out.
Okay.
Me too, actually.
Let's talk about it, man.
Okay.
So Lights Out. Where do we begin? So this film is directed by David F. Sandberg, who also directed, what's it called here? Closet Space, Attic Panic. These are all film shorts, though, actually.
So this is his first big.
Yes. Although he just got signed up to do Annabelle Part 2, which will come out next year. So this looks like it's his first full feature film. Horror movie. Where do we start? I mean, this film, it's like a whole nother spin on the Boogeyman. Really, in a sense.
Can I start by saying, or do you want to give the premise, or should I?
Do you want to?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So the premise of this movie, it almost reminds me a little of Darkness Falls. Do you remember that one where you can't be in the darkness at all?
Yeah. No, this I thought that this was like a reboot of Darkness Falls when I saw it.
I didn't, because this one was a lot better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But let's go into the premise.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go to the premise.
No, definitely. So the premise of this movie was that it starts out with a boy, his older sister, and then their mom, who they don't live with. Now,
well, the boy lives with his mom.
But he was with the sister at the time. Okay, excuse me. Now, they start noticing this like shadow womanly figure in the dark, but she is never there in the light. So people do this thing in the trailer where they turn the lights off and they're like, "Am I seeing something?" And they turn it on and there's nothing there. So they like do that a few times. And then, like, the third time, the thing is all of a sudden closer, and it's freaky. And the general premise of the movie is you sort of discover why the ghost is there, how she came to be, and then it becomes just a matter of surviving the night, so to speak. And it's a really, I thought it's a straightforward type of film. These days with horror movies, they don't get too into like character development and these things, but this one I think actually had some really good substance in terms of not so many like scares. Like to me, it's not that great when a horror movie does a scare that's not really a scare. Like something falls and it's and it's really loud, so that makes you jump. But that wasn't something that was actually scary. This movie to me had real scares, and this movie to me did build a little bit of tension. Considering horror movies these days, this was actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean,
I enjoyed the film too. I mean, there were some stereotypical moments that were supposed to scare me that didn't. But I really enjoyed her little brother, Martin's role. Mm-hmm. I thought about if I was this kid, played by Gabriel Bateman, would I be scared? And I felt like this was real for him, and it was messed up. I mean, he wasn't sleeping. like you've seen the trailer. You know, he was afraid to go to sleep. Huh?
He was a good job at acting, by the way. I really believe that.
He did an excellent job.
I think
Tris Palmer was great too, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that the cast was they did really well.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's tricky in horror because you can't just act scared. You have to. There's got to be a complexity of emotions that come from seeing these kind of things.
Yeah, Martin's role, Gabriel Bateman, was very believable. That's what sold the movie for me. I mean, I like the premise too. It was creepy. I mean, because to me, one of the scarier scenes is watching the son talk to his mom, and she's talking to someone in the closet, and you can't see that person. She's having a conversation, and you're just like, is this lady crazy? You know, is she, does she need her meds? Because you're like, well, what's going on with her? You know, that's before everything starts to happen in the movie. But I mean, to me, that was a scary scene. Let alone when you see Diana popping in and out. I mean, just the fact that she's having this conversation in the dark in her bedroom. You're just like, whoa, this is, that kind of creeped me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
To go back, it did really remind me of Darkness Falls. And up until I was watching the movie, I didn't know if this had any relation to Darkness Falls. But you're definitely right, Mariano. This was really well done. This was
what Darkness Falls could have been.
I think so. Yeah. No, it felt more like this is gonna kind of stand up for longer than Darkness Falls will. Yeah. But this reminded me of those horrors that kind of came out, like One Missed Call, The Eye, where it had that kind of interesting gimmick. Right. And I feel like the movie was mainly the appeal of it was mainly the gimmick. Not to say that they didn't pull that off, but it didn't feel like something like reinventing the wheel. You know, like while I did really like this movie, if I could compare it to The Conjuring, movies on that sort,
it'll fall short a little bit.
It'll definitely fall short.
But it's made by the same people.
Well, I think it was producer. Yeah,
same producers.
So and you can definitely see, because this isn't just this was worth watching in theaters. It was a creepy movie, but as far as like, I feel like what The Conjuring does in movies along those lines, what Insidious did is that it didn't feel like just a gimmick. It felt like just
something new,
and it felt insane.
Definitely, like I said, to me, it reminded me of the Boogeyman, or what the Boogeyman was supposed to be. Don't close your eyes. Be careful when you go to sleep.
Right. I
mean, Diana she took the whole Boogeyman thing to a whole new level. She was really creepy. I mean, so that whole character was very interesting. And then when we get the backstory, all that stuff it's a good film. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like a 7. So.
Yeah. I would give it like a 7.5 or an 8.
Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely worth watching because it makes you. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine, like I said, being the little brother's age and having to deal with that.
That's what
made it scary.
Exactly.
For me.
That's the mindset that I try to have. When I was younger, one of the really scary movies was Pumpkinhead for me.
Oh yeah.
But that's because when you imagine being in that scenario, there's almost that sense of like, what do you do? This thing is smarter, like stronger, faster. So there's almost no way out, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
Darkness Falls. The idea was scary because what was scary about that movie was that any little piece of you that was in the, like a finger could be in the shadow and she'll snatch someone, and that was scary. This one,
where you can't really escape it,
exactly, because you're like, chances are some piece of you is going to be in the dark.
It almost got scarier when it was following Rebecca, Martin's sister, to her apartment.
Right.
Those scenes might have been even scarier.
That's what I mean.
Than in the regular house.
But they did a good job of building tension, right? Like the whole light on, light off.
Oh yeah.
That built for me. So I really like. I think I'm gonna go with an 8 actually for this one.
Okay. I mean, definitely
I'd say
recommend
a 7.
it.
I think I will say a 7. I enjoyed it. It was way better than Darkness Falls. There's this thing that you want to look for in horror, that whenever daylight comes, things feel a little bit easier, and we've talked about that when we were reviewing Conjuring 2.
Exactly.
But with this movie, that inescapability that it really carried throughout.
That's what scares you, right? Because
that was The Shining. You guys were talking about movies that really kind of like resonated with you. The Shining scared the heck out of me when I was growing up. And it was the scene whenever he just leaves the hotel room, he just escapes the woman, and he shuts the door, and you have that sigh of relief that he made it out. And the door just opens up and pulls back in it. To me, that kind of showed like how not safe you are at any time. Like there are no rules and restrictions to these kind of things. And when you see that in a movie, that's what truly does it for me. So that I enjoyed it. I did, but compared to just what we've done before, like with Conjuring 2. I think it's worth watching, but it's not the best for me.
So we're at 2 7s for this movie for you guys?
Yes.
Can you give me some other 7s just so I have an idea?
Free Willy, Iron Giant,
some 7 horror movies.
Ben-Hur.
I don't have any other 7 horror movies.
I don't.
Because they would be lower than 7.
Yeah.
I mean, so for me to recommend this film, I mean, is a big deal because, like we talked
because
about
horror
before,
movies have really slacked in recent years.
Yeah, and I love the Conjuring films. This is good. I mean, I'm surprised that I did like it. I'm surprised.
I think that I would put it next to I never know to do the rating thing because it feels like there's so much more to it. But that you guys remember that movie It Follows that just came out.
I never watched that one.
I didn't watch that either.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to say that I liked It Follows a lot because it felt like a very original story. It felt very like this is new. But I feel like this movie, it kept me interested on the edge of my seat more, So it was a trade-off.
Definitely.
Definitely.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, this was a really good movie. I think we have to dive into this a little more in the wrap-up, though. It's time for a quick commercial break. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yep, sounds good.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Hey everyone, thanks again for listening to the GSMC Movie Review Podcast with Mariano, Captain Keith, and Jordan. And Sorry. And we're going to jump straight into Star Trek Beyond. So, do you want to give us some info about that one?
Sure. So, Star Trek Beyond, this is the 3rd installment in the Star Trek franchise of the reboot of original characters from the Star Trek universe. Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock,
Sulu,
Dr. McCoy,
Uhura,
Sulu, Uhura, Chekhov. So, and unfortunately, this seems to be the last film that Anton Yelchin did, who played Chekhov. Rest in peace. So, this film is directed by Justin Lin, who did Fast and Furious 6, Fast and Furious 5, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. So, he's been a busy guy. So, I was very surprised that he was able to, land this gig. I mean, going from Fast and Furious to a science fiction mainstream film like that's pretty much a big deal in the come up, to be entrusted with this franchise from J.J. Abrams. But yeah, so in this 3rd film, Captain Kirk and the crew, they've been out in space for a long time now. And Captain Kirk is getting to a point where he is pondering his life. And like you see in the trailer, he says to, Bones, Dr. McCoy, my father joined Starfleet, out of a sense of duty, and I did on a dare, and he's just trying to figure out where his life is leading, where he wants to go, because he's starting to feel a little aimless and restless out there in space because, it's becoming the same routine.
Right, I was going to say, and the constant of space is starting to wear him down a little bit.
Yes. So that's the premise that you get with this, with this movie. And there's lots of great twists and turns that also come along. And I feel like it was just interesting that it's like Captain Kirk forgot that, well, you're out in space, so anything can happen.
Right.
Don't be fooled by the lull.
Exactly.
as he found out. And so basically what happens in this film, they get sent on a rescue mission because they receive a distress call. And they're told, we need help. My ship is gone. I need you guys to help me go back to this place and, see about, saving my crew.
Exactly.
So, and the Starship Enterprise is the only ship capable of going in this region and fulfilling this assignment. So, needless to say, they go out to this region and, as we like to say, things fall apart.
Exactly, where things aren't what they seem. Yeah.
Not at all. And they eventually meet the bad guy whose name is Crawl. And boy, is he a bad guy. He was a real good bad guy. I mean, Star Trek Enterprise, I mean, the starship gets basically torn apart by his crew, by his fleet. He has like these hive-esque, I don't know what those things were. I'm still trying to figure that out.
They almost reminded me of, do you remember the old movie Lost in Space?
Yes.
Those like space spider things?
Yes.
Kind of something like that.
Okay, yeah.
It's almost like a big swarm of these things that just kind of eat away at the Enterprise piece by piece.
Literally eating away at his ship.
Reminded me of Ender's Game, really.
With those things?
Yeah, that the hive mind kind of idea.
Okay.
But, what did you guys think of the movie? I mean,
so I was hesitant about this film. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I did.
Was there any reasons that you were kind of feeling like, I don't know about it?
Well, because they were just like, the preview tells you this might be, this is the Starship Enterprise's last voyage. And we're not going to tell you whether or not it's true or not. You have to go see the movie to find out for yourself.
Yeah.
But so I was just like, I had a sense of sadness with that. And then I just wasn't sure. I didn't know what to expect. So
you kind of felt nervous that, the film was getting directed by somebody other than J.J. Abrams?
Well, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because I don't necessarily equate Fast and Furious with Star Trek.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't think anybody does on that. I liked it a lot too. Actually, I think I liked it. This was my favorite out of the newest Star Trek movies.
Really?
I enjoy this one a lot. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was.
Yeah.
I liked the second one a lot with Benedict Cumberbatch, of course. But this one, it just felt like it was fun. It felt fresh, and I like Simon Pegg when he makes things. I think that normally he has a good mind on how to write sci-fi or comedy, and I think he did a good job with this one.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, they did. I enjoyed it. It was worth watching. I'll definitely be buying this film. There were some other things that happened in the film that you don't see in the trailer that we really can't talk about, but that just make it more layered. I mean, what you find out when you watch the film is that Captain Kirk isn't the only one who's feeling aimless before things fall apart.
Right.
So, one more thing about the Star Trek universe that we didn't mention is that this is probably one of my favorite science fiction universes, and let me explain to you why when I say that. What the Federation represents is like what we want to see on this planet Earth, where people of all ethnicities, all colors and creeds and religions all have one common goal of living and working together side by side. You don't see currency in the Star Trek universe. You see people working, but everyone seems to be happy and everyone is doing their thing. It's not dystopian at all. It's a bright future.
Right.
And what happens within the Star Trek universe, there's always some people who don't like that, who don't like the concept or idea of peace, of true peace amongst all living beings, alien and human.
But what makes it interesting, too, is that in each of the movies so far, that person who's kind of against that ideal, in their own twisted way, they actually have their reasons,
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, yeah, so the reboot of this franchise, the supervillains or the villains have been great. They've been stellar.
They've
been very convincing, and I like these villains better than I do the James Bond villains that we've gotten for the past 5 or 6 years.
Right.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
So
I don't even really think that bar is actually very high for James Bond, but
it used to be.
But Khan,
another story.
Khan in Part 2 was a great
movie. He was great. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go on. No, please do.
Oh, no. I mean, Crawl was very convincing. When you find out why he's so angry, it's just more layers.
It's hard to be mad at him.
Yeah, more layers. And it was just, and it's just... But it's just interesting, though, because like I said, I mean, the Federation, what they're doing out there, what the Starship Enterprise is doing by establishing contact with different, alien species, holding out their olive branch and saying, hey, we are the Federation. This is, we are a collective of living beings, and we live, love, and laugh. And, there's no greed on our end. We're just out here trying to meet people and respect their culture and do our thing and gather more information. true explorers. So yeah, I like this universe a lot because it's not depressing, it's not sterile, it's it's very fascinating. So so I like this film. The film was good.
What did you think, Mariano? Did you like it?
I was just about to say I did like it. Yes. One thing that I'm really glad that they addressed in this movie was kind of the space like fatigue, and
because you never see that before, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some of the kind of I'll put it this way, they addressed a lot of things that realistically maybe you would need to expect from having one crew together for like years at a time.
Yes.
And what that all could mean.
Yes.
And things can get messy and things can get interesting at the same time, and I thought that was a great addition to the movie because it gave it a little bit, not that it needed it, but an extra little sense of like grounding in terms of how people behave with each other and against each other. And that on top of the villains looked awesome. I like the way right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean they put a lot of work into the story and into the crew, into these characters. Go ahead.
And I like how they carefully did the kind of like, are you friend or foe? I don't want to say too much, but where you're not sure who you trust and what's going on, and that went both ways, and it that made for kind of an interesting, like, I may help you if you help me, but that's if you are about what you say you are, and a lot of the movie, a lot of little things were interesting to me too. Like you've already brought this up, but how people have kind of plans of their own and nobody's telling each other because everybody's preoccupied with their own thing.
Yes,
and there was just so much going on, but in a good way. And it all tied together perfectly. Like I didn't think there was too many, if any, loose ends in the movie.
I agree.
And I really liked the special like feature that I wasn't expecting at the end, that extra person. This was a good movie. I like Khan better as like a nemesis, but this movie was not weak at all. It was very good. It's right up there with part 2.
Yeah, I mean I enjoyed Khan too, but I don't know. Krall might be my new favorite bad guy because and then when you see all the different twists towards the when you see all the different twists, it was just really cool. But yeah, I agree with you. I also wanted to mention too in regards to this film, Star Trek Beyond, and Star Trek in general. Well, especially Star Trek Beyond, which you do see. Like I said, that the crew, they're contemplating different things, but you also see their closeness. So, and Lieutenant Uhura has this dialogue with Krall. She's like, "My captain's coming for us."
Right.
You see this in the trailer. He's like, "That's what I'm counting on." Mm-hmm. Krall is like, it's all about my agenda, my individual will, my one will. This is going to be, my thing, and she's like, "This is my crew. We ride or die for each other. Yeah, we're part of the Federation, but we're family. Maybe we forgot that, but when it gets tested to the metal, we ride and die for each other."
Right.
Period. You saw that they were really a family unit, and you get more of that in this third film than you did in the other two. You see it in the other two films, but you see it truly established, I think, in this film.
I totally agree, and that's what I meant when I say that the dynamics come out.
Yeah. Jordan, are you okay? What do you have to say about this film?
Really, what my biggest thing about the Star Trek movie is that before, the other ones kind of felt like I had a disconnection with them. And it's a very unpopular opinion, but the last two movies I did like them, but I don't feel like I can keep rewatching them because there wasn't this whenever you're watching something and it's almost like love at first sight. You feel this click and you're like, let's watch this for 3 more hours. People get it with Game of Thrones. They did it with Lost. I didn't get that with the Star Trek movies, but this one, for whatever reason, and you can tell that it wasn't made by the same person. Not that it was bad, because the other ones, they were very solid movies. This one felt special. This one felt different from the rest.
Okay.
And there's a good chance that you can connect with all 3 of these.
Yes.
But I feel like if you didn't like the other 2, or if you liked them, they just weren't for you, give this one another shot because this was worth it for me. I probably wouldn't have watched it. I would have not mind watching it. I probably would have seen it on DVD. But unless we had this podcast, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to have a really enjoyable time at the theater.
So you connected with this one the most.
I did. And, I saw the other 2 in theaters. Yeah. And, you never know with the audience. You'll never know what you're going to get. But I did see a lot more audience interaction with the movie. And they do the applauding in some scenes and those kind of things like that. And that's always really nice to see, even if the movie's terrible, because you're seeing the sense of community in what we're watching together.
Well, and to be fair, we look at part 2 and part 1, there's also Star Trek history from the TV shows and the movies that if you weren't into it, you may not have caught. So
and that's true. And I think they do their best for a show that's so layered and so much mythology. They did their best to really kind of translate that to the layman's, the people that don't really know a lot about Star Trek.
Piggyback on what you're saying, then we have to go to a break in a minute. Piggyback on what you're saying with this third film, you didn't have to really worry too much about that history. It wasn't that much of a focus like it was in the second one and the first one. I mean, there was some of it, but not as much, which allowed you to be able to connect to. I'll talk some more about it in the wrap up.
I understand though.
Okay.
Good points made.
Yeah.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts, the movie podcast. We just talked about Star Trek for like 10 minutes, probably longer, and of course we talked about Lights Out, same amount of time. Now we're going to be doing a wrap-up show, so...
Yes.
We didn't get to this last time. Where would you guys rate Star Trek Beyond?
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I think I'm going to give it a 9 as well.
Probably give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.5.
All right.
Yeah, it's 7.5. That sounds right.
Okay.
That or an 8. My ratings changed like 5 times in a second.
Yeah, but I definitely recommend it. I think it's a great movie. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I love that universe. Like I said, I think it stands out from a lot of other science fiction universes that are just too dreary for me and dystopian. I don't care for that style of science fiction. I mean, I'll watch those films and I'll check them out, but yeah, it's not where I go to. When I go to science fiction, I think about the future. I like to think about positivity, happiness, peace, just escaping all of the things, all of the worldly problems that we've had. I think about space in the future. I think about, just enlightenment, advancement.
You say Star Trek kind of like helps you, that makes your imagination kind of like...
Oh, it totally
stimulates
stimulates you, man. Oh, yeah, man. Futuristic. I think about, what type of things you could do with medicine, what type of things you can do with your limbs, just the different way people live. I just think about that. I mean, it's a cool universe, like I said, because it's about meeting different types of species. So, at this point, when you look at Star Trek, there is no racism, there is no poverty. It's just the future, and it's just learning how to embrace different cultures, different species, and learning from them.
Star Trek's filled with good messages. Can you agree with that, Mariano?
I do. I like it for the same reasons. Similar reasons. I like it because even though you are right, I like kind of more the individual, like, aptitude that everyone has. Like, the fact that even though there is adversity, everyone seems competent and happy and stuff in the future, but there are things going on, obviously.
Sure, they're still human beings, yeah.
But
they're still beings.
I like how under immense pressure, these people don't believe in, like, shrinking down.
No, they come together.
Exactly. They believe in, like, get it done, save the team. The
family comes together.
Exactly. Yes. That was a message that I really latched onto and I really enjoyed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and you look at Captain Kirk, Mr. by the seat of his pants. I mean, he just...
I thought you were going to say by the book. I was like, what?
I know, Mr. He dives in head first.
Right.
And then you got Spock, Mr. Cautious, Mr. Meticulous, Mr. Plan everything out, Mr. Control his feelings. Mm-hmm. And their dynamic is just amazing because they feed off each other, and they make that crew even better. And then, I was happy that we got a chance to see the relationship between Spock and Dr. McCoy grow even more and get legendary like it did in the TV series. So it's just, the interactions with everyone is cool. I guess my only complaint would be to see more character development from Lieutenant Uhura and Chekhov, and Sulu, to see them have even more definitive roles within the movie.
I think Sulu had a pretty important role in this movie.
Yeah, he did.
Chekhov, though.
But Chekhov really didn't.
I was really heartbroken that this was his last, movie. And on top of that, he didn't get enough scenes for me. And I think he is such.
It goes back to what I'm saying. That this Russian man who became a part of this, Federation. That's the big deal. When this happened in the '60s, when Gene Roddenberry did this in the late '60s, man, that was revolutionary, dude. He had a Japanese man, a Russian man sitting next to each other, flying the ship, a black woman doing communication, and then this guy with pointy ears who's an alien as the second officer.
The most controversial out of all of those things.
You know what I'm saying? That's what he made in the '60s.
Yeah.
Talk about, that was a big deal.
I've never thought of it that way, but considering the time period of the '60s, I see what you're getting at. That's.
Yeah. Well, so much time has passed now.
Right.
They paved the way, but when you write a good story and you can bring it back and reintroduce it, because this franchise is a reboot and it's remaking the show, but it's not.
Right. It's kind of like a reimagining.
At the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you had the old Spock and the new Spock at the same time.
And people generally didn't have problems with that, right?
Because it was different. It was cool. Yeah. So.
And also it fit and it didn't really ruin too much of the story, if anything.
No. But I can gush about this all day long. Lights Out. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I saw it in the crowd, like you were saying, Jordan, and the crowd, they were getting scared. They were jumping.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they were. So to scare me in a horror film, it's got to be subtle, little subtle things to nitpick at me, and the film was able to do that with Diana's character.
So I agree. I think both of these movies, which we see the movie, we see things in theaters all the time now,
right?
But you don't always see such interaction. But I did both movies, not as much with Lights Out to Star Trek. Star Trek was people were just it was almost like an open discussion while the movie was going on. It was so emotionally intact. Lights Out, though, there was still a lot of people that were collectively afraid of parts, and it was a chilling movie. And despite I'm not me saying it's not as great as Conjuring, I think still a decade later, this is still going to be relevant enough for people to watch it.
Well, I will buy it.
It's going to be on a collection, what I mean?
Yeah, I'll buy it, which is a big deal for me because I don't buy horror movies because most of the time they just bore me. So, it's on my list to buy.
Yeah,
Mariano?
I liked it. I like that point you guys made. That's what I was getting at when I was saying that the movie built tension well.
Yes.
Was people in the audience kind of took to it well.
Yeah,
instead of being bored,
Yeah, they did.
Because again, these days you go to a horror movie with pretty low expectations, and this one was pretty good.
Yes, I agree. And like I said, and Teresa Palmer did a great job, playing the big sister, Rebecca. She was great. She's also known for Warm Bodies with Jason Holt. So that's where she's from. So she's been doing her thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed her and Gabriel Bateman. Maria Bello playing their mom, Sophie. She was good, very good. She did a great job playing, a mom who was just worn down, she just seemed defeated throughout most of the film.
You know what else too? Well, let me say I like Maria Bello in her other movies too. Like Assault on Precinct 13 was one that I liked her in.
Right
and
on. Yes.
I like the fact, I was telling Jordan this, I like the fact that these people, if you had to choose a gimmick, fear of the dark is innate for every human being.
It won't ever go old, man.
Right.
And it won't ever go old.
It won't. Well, it's natural,
Yeah.
And they did a good job. Again, I can't stress enough, this is what a movie like Fear of the Dark should be. Do you remember They, where you couldn't even see the monsters the whole time?
I believe so.
I remember They.
That I thought was weak. A lot of other Fear of the Dark movies I thought were weak.
Are you talking about is They the one with where they put on the glasses and they can see?
That's They Live.
Yeah,
They Live.
I don't think
Roddy
so.
Piper, that's a different film.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember They
Rest
Live.
in peace, yeah.
They is you see people getting dragged around, but you never see the entity, whatever it may be. But this movie is going to be like the new reason people fear the dark.
Oh, yeah, man. Like I said, my heart went out to Little Martin. I was just like, wow. I mean,
this one did a good job, I thought.
Oh yeah, and when you see the social worker talking about, he hasn't been getting any sleep,
right?
What's going on? If you want your brother, it's not that easy. All that seems very realistic.
Exactly, and it seems it seems very like disheartening in a good way. Like, man, we're already dealing with this. Now we have to worry about this. Yeah, and it kind of adds to the plot to me in a good way. Right,
and just when I thought it was getting stereotypical with battling Diana, there was one person in the film that was trying to get away from her.
Right.
And how they wrote that scene to me was brilliant. That's all I'm going to say because I can't give it away. But I liked there was a pleasant surprise in what they did.
There were parts in it that you just kind of like went, oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, they surprised me. Me. Yeah, so, the movie picks up. It starts off kind of slow, but when it picks up, it picks up.
To me, if I could close on Lights Out.
Yes.
It was one of those, a lot of horror movies, if it doesn't have that originality where you don't understand what's going through it, what's about to happen, you kind of know what's going to happen. You know the basic gist of the movie you're watching.
Yes.
But the cool thing about some of those horror movies, and I'm thinking of things like that were really back then, like The Eye and One Missed Call, those kind of things that came out. Even though you know what's going on, you know it's probably going to happen, it's a fun ride, and you realize this is just going to be a fun ride to be in. The ending, that's a toss-up, but you know that there's going to be these linear points because we've all seen so many horror movies, and there's only a certain amount of roads that they can go down. So I think outside of this one, don't expect The Conjuring, and I keep saying that. I'm driving that point home, but it's still something that you're really going to enjoy.
I agree.
It's not made to blow your mind. It's made to watch it, enjoy it, and then possibly want to watch it again.
I agree, and definitely, and hats off to Teresa Palmer, who plays Rebecca. Like I said, Gabriel Bateman, Martin.
Teresa Palmer. God.
Yeah, Gabriel Bateman. He almost stole the show. That kid he definitely has a bright future ahead of him. I think as an actor.
If you guys are listening, you're both welcome on the show.
Yes, you are. We've got love for you. So, but Star Trek Beyond, loved it. Like I said, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yep.
Yeah. And I loved it. It was a pleasant surprise. I'm looking. So. Let's keep that universe going, and may more people get more familiar with that universe. Gene Roddenberry. It wasn't just about George Lucas, folks. It's about Gene Roddenberry too. He's a true visionary as well. So check it out. Definitely, you'll like it. It's worth watching in theater. If you don't see that movie in the theater, you're cheating yourself. Actually, with both of these films, you need to see Lights Out in the theater, and you need to see Star Trek in the movie theater.
And 3D if you can. If you're the person that can watch 3D, if you can't, don't worry. It's still going to be just as good. But 3D, I really enjoyed it. They did the special effects. Yeah. Sometimes you're wasting the extra dollars to see 3D. Right. Not this case. So
there you go.
Check them both out.
Jordan's from the mouth of Jordan. That's what's up. Okay. All right. So.
No, sorry. Don't forget, everyone, you can find us at gsmcpodcast.com, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes, as well as check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Golden State Media Concepts. I'm Mariano.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Keith. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Forgot to mention that to you. Yeah, the weekend's here. We all worked for it. And we'll see you somewhere out in space.